Some people say that with age comes wisdom. However, these are often the same people that say with reindeer comes Santa. Now, I'm not saying they're right, I'm not saying they're wrong, I'm just saying maybe we should reevaluate this whole getting older, getting wiser thingamajiggy. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and always welcome guests, how many of you really feel wiser than last year? Okay, keep pretending. How many of you don't? And how many of you don't even remember last year? My point exactly. I always thought that if I was going to get wiser, it would happen this year. Why? Because this is the year I turned 30! Don't worry, I had the same reaction. I didn't know if I should clap or if I should just ignore it. I think your reaction was most appropriate. Like every year, I watched the clock on my VCR and I counted 11:57, 11:58, 11:59, my birthday! Then I waited for that moment. You know, the moment when I would be the wiserest in my whole liferest. At exactly 12:01, it hit me. I was more wiped out than I had ever been at the age of 29. I immediately fell asleep. Luckily, the next day, I awoken to new knowledge about my age, my health, and my breathing. First, I was much wiser about my age. When I was 29, 29 and a half, even 29 and 3/4, I still told people my age. However, now that I'm 30, I will never tell my age again. Why? Because it's just too personal. I mean, I'll tell you my home address, I'll tell you my phone number, I'll even tell you my ATM PIN code. But telling you my age, that's taking it one step too far, right, ladies? Men, pay attention. I mean, I don't know what you would do with that information. No, seriously, I have no idea what you would actually do with that information. Next, I became wiser about my health. Growing up in the Midwest, I was used to eating Illinois corn, Iowa potatoes, and McDonald's cheeseburgers. When I moved to California, I was so distracted by the thought of earthquakes that I stopped paying attention to who I was hanging around with. And before I knew it, I was surrounded by good influences. It was horrible. They kept trying to get me to live longer and unclog my arteries. I kept telling them, if I want to be the reason why McDonald's ends up banning Happy Meals, let me have my moment. I deserve that much. I remember the first time I went out for drinks with real Californians. I was the only one that ordered Pepsi. Everyone else ordered water. I said to them, come on guys, I know that the cost of living is high out here, but splurge a little. They said, Jose, it's not that we're cheap. Water is good for you. I said, so is wine. But good things are best in moderation. Why don't you drink some pop now and you can have water periodically? I didn't convince them. They ended up convincing me. Now I'm not only drinking water, but I'm avoiding fast food. When I used to see McDonald's golden arches, I used to think hamburger heaven. Now I see the arches and I just think heaven. And I'm too young still to die. Finally, I'm wiser about the relationship between speaking and breathing. I always thought it was a little weird that I was turning blue in the middle of my speeches. However, my evaluators would say, Jose, don't worry about it. If breathing was that important, it would have been in the CC manual. It took me until Toastmaster Leadership Institute to realize that passing out didn't have to be part of the process. and will no longer have you require an oxygen machine. I kept saying, if these techniques are out there, a tool, why didn't Toastmasters tell us about them? A distinguished Toastmaster who wishes to remain anonymous told me the truth. He said that Toastmasters is like college. In college, they say that anybody could be any major. But really, they just want people who stay ahead of the curve. It's the same way in Toastmasters. They say that anyone could be a distinguished Toastmaster, but really, they only want people who are still breathing. I learned it the hard way. If you want to succeed, you got to breathe. Think about it. That brings us back to the initial question. Is it true that with age comes wisdom or just oldness? I think age does bring wisdom. Ever since I turned, I am so much wiserest than I was when I was 29. I'm eating healthier, and I can even go like this.